car is ready to pick you up for your scheduled meeting. Say? Your car is ready to pick you up.
Zanu, where is it?
It's now 10, you've got a 10:30 meeting. Sorry, Comrade Matamadanda.
Yeah. Damn why?
Yeah, 10:30.
Oh. I'm going to go fun.
Maisa, papi.
I can't come in this Abednego.
Abednego.
Betty.
Yes.
That.
And what already in Dara was Mushi.
Okay.
Wakumva msoro, warikuruta, temperature yakashuta, and what already warungokwenya skin ikuchinja kala.
Koko diagnosis manje zvipatara kundoti
diagnosis kana atuzobvunzana unongotaura kuti poisoning. Poisoning vanhu vanenge varikuda kudonhedza
mukuru.
Saka ende unotaura izvozvo kuti vanga zvida kudonhedza mudhara
apo ibunguru.
So, should I issue out a statement saying?
Is this statement irangaitvire? Handi statement irangaitvire. Iwewe inyora pasi zvandataura zvese and wobva watora phone unotora myself vanoziva kuti mudhara ane poisoning. Those people should know.
Alright, I'm on it tomorrow.
My people, comrades and friends, welcome to another episode of The Week with me, Comrade Fatso. We took a 1-week break and the Hurumend started throwing around TV licenses, Patrick Chinamasa announced the winner of the 2023 elections, and Victor Matemadanda recovered from his alleged poisoning quicker than you can say suspicious. We also caught up with former Finance Minister and the MDC Alliance Vice President, Tendai Biti. But first, this.
As far as we are concerned, 2023 election is a foregone conclusion. In fact, it's over before the people vote.
2020 has been filled with several surprises, but if you had told me that we would have had more press conferences from Patrick Chinamasa this year than when he was finance minister, I would have called you Prophet Madungwe. Full of nonsense. But I would have been wrong, because the only thing left for us to hear is Patrick saying, "Hello comrades, welcome back to my channel." That's how often Chinamasa has been in front of the camera. But this latest showing was pretty special because he was announcing the 2023 election results. You might be like, what? But we are in 2020. Elections are not for another 3 years. Well comrades, you know them Sangano, always thinking ahead. This past week, the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe announced which companies got TV licenses. And surprise, surprise, Trevor Ncube was not one of them. Ah, shame. That's tough. But that's also how you know that the junta is still the junta. Imagine that after all that twerking that he did after the coup in 2017, talking about how ED was sincere and warm and cuddly like a teddy bear, all that, and still nothing. We said it before. Zanu, Haichinji, and we were called haters. Well, who's hating now? So if Trevor didn't get a license, who did? There's ZTN, which is owned by, well, you know who owns ZTN? Zim Papers, the guys who produced that paragon of truth, the Herald. Then there's Rusununguko, which is owned by, guess who? The Zimbabwe National Army. But you would have guessed already just by the name. I mean, they might as well have named it We Died for This Country TV or Pasinima Sellouts Broadcasting. What you probably didn't know is that others, like Acacia Media, belong to former Zanu PF, Goromonzi South parliamentary aspirant, Sharon Mugabe. Meanwhile, channel Zimbabwe is owned by former ZBC boss Happison Uchechetere. Sounds like some truly independent stations. At least there's Just a Media, which is under the daily news table, which means that's more independent. Maybe there's a problem with that one because allegedly the Minister of State for Harare, Oliver Chidao, is on the board of that one. There's at least one independent one. I mean, veteran playwright Kontu Mhlanga and Tubani Moyo won a TV license with a Bulawayo-based Fair Talk Communications. Oh, hold on. What? Apparently, Nehanda Radio has evidence that their planned TV station is a joint venture with the army. Saka Comrades, all 6 TV stations are captured before they've even started. Yeah, no one. Hey, I mean, you've got to hand it to Zanu PF. They had to work hard to find various different ways of running all 6 independent TV stations. Arukshanda, they're so creative. So once again, as content creators who want truly independent alternative TV channels where there's real freedom of expression, get nothing. But don't worry, comrades, we will have the last laugh because content is king. Because when all these new TV stations are launched, you'll still be coming online to get your real news from the week. What the Hurment has done has been to basically license 6 new dead BCs. But dead BC, haina content madara. It's like saying my Honda Mshika Shika is not working. Let me get another 6 of them. I can't wait to see what Rusununguko TV ends up broadcasting. Battle of Sinoia, Rambo, Comrade Chinks on repeat for 13 hours, make a little bit of Tambawoga. This week, with Mthuli Ncube announcing the national budget, we decided to catch up with the former finance minister, Tendai Biti, to hear his thoughts about the state of the economy and much, much more. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, welcome to a very special interview where we've managed to tie down the former Minister of Finance, the MDC Alliance Vice President, Comrade Tendai Biti. Comrade, welcome to the show.
Thank you, comrade.
So we're going to get straight into it. This is the week of the budget announcement, and you seem to talk a lot about the Comrade Mthuli Ncube. What do you think of him? Is he your friend that you talk about him so much, or?
Well, my problem with him is that he comes with these overhyped qualifications: a professor of mathematical economics, a graduate of the University of Cambridge, a lecturer at the University of Oxford, a former dean of the faculty of finance and economics at Wits University, a former vice president of the African Development Bank. So that's a lot of overhype. But when it comes to delivery, there's zero. There's total, cluelessness. But I think my biggest problem with him is that he lies so naturally. He lies so easily. Even if he doesn't need to lie, the lies just ooze out of him. So natural. He's like a snake. A snake, even if you try to go straight, it can't. It has to go like this. And I have a problem with people like that. And that's my fundamental problem with him.
Okay, so you've got a problem with him and his economics. But what guarantee do we have that, let's say the MDC Alliance were to be in power, what guarantee do we have that you wouldn't adopt the same neoliberal type economics that make the rich richer and the poor poorer? How would your economics actually work for the many and not for the elite?
Well, I think that question, my suspicion has already been answered because we've been there before. We've got a track record of 4.5 years. And you recall that when we came in, all of us were poor. There was 500 billion % inflation. Between 2006 and 2009, the Reserve Bank had taken out 26 zeros from our currency. By 2008, the highest denominated note was a $100,000 trillion note, which Comrade Fatso couldn't buy you 2 bottles of soda. But that was a fiction. $800,000 $1 trillion plus 26 zeros to get to our true currency. But we stabilized, the situation. We brought sanity into the market. We gave real value to the working people of Zimbabwe. Even you married 4 wives, I know that. So, we made a difference to people. People were able to build houses, send their children to school, and so forth. I can move around in a street without being mobbed by people saying, look, Mdara, you made our lives better. And this trick is very simple. Be honest. Work hard, stick to principles, and most importantly, don't steal. Live within your means. What I used to call we eat what we kill. Regrettably, everything I've spoken of, my own values and everything I stand for, is the opposite of what Mr. Mthuli and Mr. Mnangagwa stand for.
So we're hearing a bit about the economic plan of the MDC, and now politically, where is the MDC right now? The MDC alliance. We've seen a lot of press statements this year, but the question is, where's July 31 came and went. Where's Nelson Chamisa? Where's the action that's being spoken of? People don't know what the MDC is about, and your question is predicated on that lack of knowledge. The MDC is not Harvest House at 44 Nelson Mandela Avenue. The MDC is not the top leadership of the party. The MDC is out there in the communities, in Cholocho, in Tijolo, in Victoria Falls, in Ngai, Emakuswini, in Gweruchen, in Lotito, in Chendambuya. That's where the MDC is. And I've been going to communities, visiting communities. People are there, out there. They're angry. They want change. They want leadership. There are only 2 political formations in Zimbabwe, the MDC and ZANU-PF. And ZANU-PF is only alive because it controls the state. ZANU-PF is only alive because it has conflated itself with the state. So the state is ZANU and ZANU is the state. That's the only reason why it is alive. And it's able then to reproduce itself through the state. So when it gives Fumvudza to people think it's ZANU-PF. When it gives command agriculture to people, that theft, and people think it's ZANU-PF because of that conflation. But out there, the MDC is in the hearts of people. It is alive and kicking. Okay.
And people know their leader. People know their leader, and their leader is Advocate Nelson Chamisa. I dare say the very handsome Advocate Nelson Chamisa.
Okay. So you're saying the MDC is out there in the rural areas. We just heard Comrade Patrick Chinamasa over the past week actually announcing that 2023 elections, they're actually a done deal before the people have even casted their vote. So is the MDC out there building in the rural areas to actually win the rural areas in 2023?
Yeah, speaking of Chinamasa, I spoke about the qualities of Mthuli Ncube.
Yeah.
And I say that his most distinguishing factor is that he lies, and lies naturally. I know 1 or 2 other people that lie naturally, like him. But with Chinamasa, you're basically dealing with a deranged individual. You're basically dealing with somebody who is not mentally compus, somebody who is mentally incompetent, a candidate for Enguchen. He's just a madman. A desperate, madman. So no one should take seriously what the comrade says. And part of his problem is that he has to appear radical because he is guilty. Unlike some of us, we were too young to go to the war. But Chinamasa was in fact old enough to go to the war, but he was hiding in a law firm. He wasn't even a Mujiba. He wasn't even a Mujiba. So that guilt of betraying the struggle, it's on him. So he has to appear more radical than the liberation movement itself. But all he does is to embarrass himself. And I know he's got grandchildren. I feel pity for his grandchildren because I wouldn't want to call that man Sekuru. It's a shame.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a hypothetical question here. Would you rather get into a fight with a 100-ton bull named Lovemore from Murewa, or into a fight with ZANU-PF? And why?
I would rather get into a fight with a bull called Samson because, what is ZANU-PF? A cacophony of gerindocratic, from President Mugabe was 94, Emerson Mnangagwa who is 80-something, Chinamasa who is 70-something, Sekeramai who is 80-something, Harid Zofanzirofa, old people. We want generational renewal in this country. We want young people to take charge of this country. We are tired of a group of people that have abused our country in the name of a liberation movement, in the name of a war that finished 40 years ago. You know, we can't be imprisoned. And because they think they liberated us, there's a couch of impunity. They can do anything they want because they say they liberated us. There's a couch of entitlement. They own farms. Their mistresses are smuggling gold. Their children are grabbing all gold mines, in Zimbabwe, simply because of the liberation struggle. That's why some of us who were too young to say, if you think you liberated us, go and tie back that country so that we untie it ourselves. We are tired of this exhausted, hijacked liberation, hogwash, if you like.
Comrade Biti, you've called this the RBZ auction system. You've called it a charade, and it's going to collapse. Tell us why do you call it such? What's the reason behind that?
An auction presupposes free entry of all players. Those on the demand side, i.e. those who want to buy, and those on the supply side, i.e. those who want to supply the product that is being sold at the auction. Which is why for Zimbabweans, the nearest example to a perfect auction is the tobacco auction floors. So there are over 100,000 tobacco farmers in this country. They all take their forger to the market from February to June. Whether you are from Karoi, or you are from Rusape, or you are from Chiweshe or Morewa, they all take their. So there is not one single producer who takes his tobacco to the auction floor. With the Dutch auction system, there's only one tobacco producer. He's called the Reserve Bank. So now, when you have one supplier, and remember there are big companies that earn billions of dollars in terms of export earnings. So companies like Zimplats, they generate a lot of foreign currency. Companies like Tanganda, part of the Mikos group, they generate a foreign currency for a lot of foreign. Why are they not putting their money on the auction? Because there are distortions. Now what happens now is that when you are controlling one product and you are the only one who supplies one product, if you go into a village and you are the only one who makes 7 days, you determine the price. So you can't call it an auction because there are so many people with their mugs who want your beer. You determine the price. So don't call it an auction. It's a fixed exchange rate because the person who controls the product, the sole supplier, can determine the price. And that regrettably is what John Mangundla has been doing. So if you want to see now how he has been rigging, the auction system started in June of 2020. We are now in November. The price has been fluctuating between 79 and 82. So it remains stuck on literally 82. So it's flat. But currencies are volatile. If you watch my presentation 2 days ago when I presented the MDC State of the Economy, I produced a graph showing the comparison for the same period, June, between the rand and the US dollar. And this graph is very volatile because currency changes every second depending on the economic context. But ours has been flat, showing beyond reasonable doubt that it has been rigged. Also, when you have a proper auction system, anyone can go and buy. Anyone. So if you go to the tobacco auction floor, as long as you've got your money, you can buy. But here, not everyone who has got money is accessing. We know, and that's why John Mangundla in the Reserve Bank can't give us a list of the people that are buying foreign exchange because the characters are the same. Number one on the list will be Sekunda and Kudata Gwirei, the INSCOs of this world, the FSGs of this world. In other words, the same mafia that has been stripping this country dry from time since independence. A hoodlum, a concoction. I once called them Zhigananda. The same Zhigananda are the ones who are getting money on the demand side. So there is a distortion on both the supply side and on the demand side. So you can't call it an auction. Call it anything else you want, but it's not an auction system because there's no free entry on both the demand side and the supply side.
Right. So it's like, instead you're saying basically John Mangujga is just selling tobacco by himself from his little car tuck shop.
Yes.
There's no one else allowed to sell from there.
So he's able to say, "Nazi ndiri kutengesa at 10 cents. Mangwana ndiri kutengesa at 10," and you have no choice because there's no foreign currency in the banks. So call it Chitak shop, call it Njuga, call it Feja, but don't call it an auction system because it's not.
Okay, so next question is, here's a multiple choice now. So you can just respond how you like, but you've just got one option or the other, just like kind of politically in Zimbabwe, Zanu PF or NDC. That's multiple choice. So first, Chibuku or Bollingers?
Chibuku.
All right. Matumbu or Oxtail?
Oxtail.
Would you rather meet Kuda Tagwire for dinner or get sick with the flu?
Sick with the flu. Sick with the flu. Even COVID.
Pakaipa. All right. So if you had, now this is another question. If you had a superpower that could make you a superhero, what would that superpower be? What kind of superhero would you be?
I think my son would want me to be Batman. I probably would want to be the Incredible Hulk.
All right, the Incredible Hulk fighting against the regime. Jack Green, yeah. We'd probably have,
or Godzilla.
Yeah.
They were just crashing. Zanu head office in Rotondo.
Yeah, we just probably have to change your colors there because green anti color Msangano. So maybe we'd make it the Incredible Hulk, but the red version. But yeah.
It's a big one.
So, Comrade Biti, here's a hypothetical scenario. ED and Chamisa are doing a 100-meter race against each other.
Yeah.
But Zek gives ED a 50-meter head start. Who wins?
Tom Kia. Nelson Chamisa will win hands down. Mudaraga is 84 years.
Are you sure?
Beyond reasonable doubt.
Okay, I just said that Zek disqualified him from the race, and he was underage, overweight and overheight. Okay, my final question is: you're stuck sitting in a mshika on your way to your destination, and next to you, for that 45-minute journey, is none other than your old friend Toko Kupe. What would you say to Toko if you are on this 45-minute journey with her, with no option of getting off until you get to CBD?
I would just say, let's pray, and we would hold the Bible and read the Lord's Prayer. Forgive them, for they know not. That's what we would pray. Otherwise, anything else, that car will move. So we just pray.
All right. Comrade Biti, thanks for joining us on the week today. Thanks for sharing all your serious thoughts and also the humorous ones. And we wish you a good rest of the week.
Thank you, sir.
Video of the week has to be this.
Comrade Chinamasa, it may not be appropriate, but I should tell you as Secretary for Veterans of the Liberation Struggle that we are waiting for a command. We can return the sanctions back to the British and the Americans. And we have the formula, but we shall not speak until command tells us, or until we discover that the efforts by government and the efforts by the party seem to be hitting the wall. We'll wait for no command, but we'll do what we know best and return the sanctions. And I mean it, return the sanctions back to the British and the Americans. I think for today, that will be all.
Yes, comrades, we're just waiting for the command, then we'll return the sanctions back to the West. I mean, at the week, we've been vocal in saying that sanctions don't work, but we'd love to hear what the secret war vet's weapon is to return the sanctions back to the West. See, you just press return to sender, or we send sanctions back to America, disguised as an export of innocent black granite from Toko, and then all of a sudden, boom, sanctions explodes in Washington, D.C. for oil.
Imimi mvamanyatsoita serious.
Aya ndiawa.
Mupa manyatsoita serious.
Andotovadzorera.
Zvekuda kusekera mutorege.
Andotovadzorera.
Sanctions avo.
Nasi tinofana kuenda.
Gondo maiona, gondo yechimurenga. Babetone.
Mupe iwe, mupe moyo.
Yes.
Uyawo neurango ufumu.
What is this?
Umama sanction.
Chinhu ichi hachidzoserwe manje. Hachisi majigisi.
Achisi maputi chekumusika izvi.
Takuwara.
Once takakupaka ndezvako izvi. Chienda nacho izvi. Ndezvenyu izvi. Aiwa, chienda nacho.
But zvinoita here izvi.
Kasi unozoti chi paaramba agona iyi ndo excuse yatinopa chi opposition kuparliament vakati tatadza kutonga hanzei
But anoti kuwadzisa.
ndo excuse yadiyoyo aiwa tinoramba takacheneswa nawo mafaction iyi excuse inotichenesa.
Recently, Deputy Defense Minister Victor Matimadanda claimed that he was down with a mysterious illness, aka poisoning. He even shared a very flattering selfie with us. Was that poisoning, Comrade, or just babido? Too much two keys? Either way, we think that Comrade Jaman Adamski has gotten to the bottom of the matter. Hansi, it's just a case of itchy eyes. Are you bored of the usual political rallies where politicians go on and speak for hours and hours? Then you should go to a Bobby Wine rally. There you go, comrades. You will sing all the way to the demo.
Anyway, Uganda land of abundance, but Ugandans living in deficiency. Museveni wants life presidency. We must abandon that silly tendency. Uganda rich, but Ugandans poor, because the leader is drunk on power. He runs nation like family affair. The citizens suffer, but he don't care. Let's sing United Forces of Change.
Why can't Nick Mangwana sing for us like that? Then we would listen. In other news, African editors have called on South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to intervene in the ongoing persecution of Hopewell Chingono. The High Court recently freed Chingono on bail, but his case is still pending. This year, the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is running from the 25th of November till the 10th of December. As Magamba TV, we'll be encouraging each other to raise awareness about gender-based violence, to challenge discrimination against women, and to push for better laws to end violence against women. To be part of the 16 Days campaign, follow Magamba TV on social media. Thanks for joining us on the week. Follow Magamba TV on social media. I've been Comrade Fatso. You have been the people. This has been the week. Thank you. My eyes are a little bit itchy. Foot tech.